Yes.
Well, we don't be sworn in.
Yes. Yeah, it's the same. No, Bob's gonna be, well, okay, Bob,
For the picture,
where do you want
swearing
it?
in now.
Or wherever you want, whatever you want me to do, Diane. I was just asking if you had a different.
Okay, you gotta be separate.
We're gonna do separate. That'd be good picture wise if we did it separate.
Well, and then we'll also take a picture of them.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, look this way. Look pretty.
All right, here we go. Great.
Larry's hair wasn't out of place, was it?
No. I just
Okay, guys. Raise your hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Missouri, the provisions of all laws of this state, affecting cities of the third class, and the ordinances of the city of Kennett, that I possess all of the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of which I was elected on the 7th day of April, 2015, and will faithfully demean myself while in office. Congratulations. All right, you got what you wanted them?
Yes.
Okay, so now
Thank you
Bob,
so much.
you're by yourself.
Hey, come around. Get out of the way. Don't look at me, get out of the way now.
As far as I can go.
All right. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Missouri, the provisions of all laws of this state affecting cities of the third class, and the ordinances of the city of Kennett, that I possess all of the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of which I was elected on the 7th day of April, 2015, and will faithfully demean myself while in office. Congratulations. Okay, let's just go ahead and do, why don't you go ahead and do this part before we get Jake up here and
You're not done yet.
Not done.
Yeah, we need one more good picture.
All right. We're done.
Presented to Jake Crafton, in appreciation of dedicated and exemplary service as Mayor of Kennett, 2011, 2015. Thank you from the city council and city employees.
Thank you guys. Shake hands and everybody. Perfect.
and then he's got one more.
Oh, one more,
Yeah.
okay.
We're gonna do that now. We're gonna wait on.
Well, I don't know where the rest of the,
Get your gavel.
where's
It's your
the
time now.
rest of the council members, please? Council members,
Well, we're missing three tonight, so I'm stopped. Bob next four.
We'll call it to order.
y'all just stay right where you are.
There you go. Perfect.
So you'll just call it to order and vote on the resolution.
All meeting back to order. Resolution. Be it resolved by the city council, city of Kennett, Missouri, as follows. Whereas, Jake Crafton has rendered effective and faithful service in the city of Kennett, Missouri, as mayor for the past 4 years. Whereas Jake Crafton has honored the duties incumbent upon that office and has always exemplified the highest ideals of public service on behalf of our city. And whereas it is only in fitting and proper that recognition be given by our community to Jake Crafton for his dedicated service as mayor. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and the city council of the city of Kennett, Missouri, that Jake Crafton is recognized for his exemplary service to the people of Kennett, Missouri, passed and approved this 21st day of April, 2015, by Democratic mayor. Vote on the resolution.
Motion.
Need a motion?
Motion.
Got a motion, and a second. Any discussion? It's your last chance.
Last shot.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Guys, thank you.
And then, while everybody's right there, oh,
There you go.
in your packet, Bob is wanting to appoint James Waynick to take his place on the council, which would be, to finish up April of next year. So if you guys would go ahead and vote on that, we'll swear him in.
I make a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I love y'all's new seating format. I love
James,
that.
James, will you come up here?
Stand up here.
This way we'll have enough people to conduct business. All right, so raise your hand and repeat after me. I, your name, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Missouri, the provisions of all laws of this state affecting cities of the third class, and the ordinances of the city of Kennett, that I possess all of the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of which I was appointed on the 21st day of April 2015, and will faithfully demean myself while in office. Congratulations. All right, so now we're ready for the council to get back and
Good job, sir. Come on, Jake. I've had every other Tuesday for the past 8 years. Get out from your brother. Guys, see you later. Guys, see you later. Yes? Hey, sir. I bought boss.
Good luck.
Yes, sir, thank you. All right. See y'all.
here.
Kind of want you to know that. I think you would be great.
How you doing, sir?
Let's proceed with our meeting here. New business, I would like to make one comment here. When we started, most of you know me for a while. Little did I know, we envisioned 35 years ago when I came to Kennett, that this day would ever happen. Certainly wasn't in the game plan. But, I feel very honored and pleased for this opportunity. With that said, I'd like to call on the former mayor of the city who would like to say something to us.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, my name is Saul Ashton. I'm a senior former mayor of Kennett. 52 years ago tonight, I was sworn in as mayor of Kennett. Many, many, many changes have occurred since that day. Those of you who were not even born then would not recognize the old Kennett that I inherited with Kennett today. Let me just make a few comments to you. I think we have a tendency today to sell Kennett short and to look at some of the problems we have and not look at the assets that we have. There are many things that I think that we can be very, very proud of. We have an extraordinarily fine medical situation. We have a fine hospital in Twin Rivers. We have 2 excellent nursing facilities. I speak to you as coming out of one where 6 weeks ago I came in a wheelchair. Today I'm walking on a cane and by myself. I cannot drive yet. I have to have a driver for me, but the progress I've made through our medical facilities, Palmer's organization, is a credit to the community. We have an excellent educational system. We have a good school system of almost 2,000 students. You have only to look at the progress that some of our recent graduates have made in the professions to know what type of an education we give them. I don't think we fully recognize the good that our schools do us and the credit that they give to this community. We have an excellent utility system. City Light Gas and Water is the credit not only to Kennett, but to the entire Boot Heel. We furnish electric, gas, water, internet service at a reasonable price. Those of you who remember 2009 and the ice storm, we couldn't have made it without our utility. It is almost a small industry in itself, and it is a real credit to this community what our utility, what our City Light Gas and Water does for us. We do have an industrial base. Sometimes we tend to forget it. We have Parker Hannafin, AR, Fastenal. Of course we don't have as much as we wish, but we do have some, and I think we're grateful for those industries we do have. City Light Gas and Water has an employee who is a full-time economic development man who is working daily, full-time, to try to promote business and industry for Kennett. And I think this is a positive step forward in the growth of our community. We are headquarters of an agricultural region. We have agricultural facilities. Farmers from far away come to Kennett for their trade and for their business, and we are proud of that. Most of all, we have great people. We have many, many churches throughout the community that serve our community and are a credit to Kennett. There is much work ahead for all of you to be done, and I know that you will do well. There's a passage in Scripture that says, in the multitude of counselors, there is wisdom. The Proverbs. I think you will recognize that. I wish you all my best, good wishes, and Godspeed to each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Tonight, I would ask you to approve one of our committees, that being the Finance Committee, so they can begin their work. The other committees will be finalized and put forth at the first meeting next month. What I'm recommending here is to appoint Roger Weaver Sr., Bill Palmer, and Stephen Ost to the Finance Committee, with Roger being the chairman of the committee. Motion?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I talked to most of you, all of you tonight, and if you got any additional thoughts about what committee you want to be on, et cetera, let me know in a few days. Next up, I guess we need to certify the April 7th
Yes.
election results, and we've got it in the packet.
There are three different resolutions. Because we had three different elections. So there are three resolutions that are in the packet. Probably should be voted on separately. They are in here, I know it's in. And we don't have to even have on the first one is the resolution declaring the results of the special election on the imposition of the fee of $2 per month for mosquito abatement. And the resolution is to approve and find that it was passed and that the city will impose the fee of $2. Motion.
Second.
Second, for discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes.
The second one is the resolution declaring the results of the election on the question of shall the city of Kennett organize under sections 78.778.720, providing for the optional city manager form of government. This issue failed at the ballot box 460 to 631. Motion.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes.
And the third resolution is to approve the certification of the general city election, in which Mayor Hancock won over Beverly Alpha Thomas, 86208. Neil Bradley was elected treasurer. Freddie Sokoloff was elected councilman from Ward 1, and Ward 2, Larry McDowell, Ward 3, Kenny Wilson, Ward 4, Roger Wheeler, and Ward 5, Bill Hall. Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Resolution passes.
For your aware as to what the election costs. In your packet, if you all will see the, the general election, and then for city manager, and for the mosquito. Each one of those costs the city $5,245.79, for a total of $15,737.37. So we only had 13,000 allotted in the budget, so we will be over what this cost was. Just to make y'all aware that this is just an example of, I don't know if you all have heard people say we don't want to have a special election because it's going to cost the city. This is an example. They have it broken down between administration, publications, supplies, ballots, the judges, and delivery. So everybody should have that in your packet.
Do you have any idea how this compares to when we had separate locations?
I was just gonna ask that same question.
No, I'm sorry, I don't. It can be something I can look into for next time.
I know we felt like we moved it that direction as a cost savings in some manner, so.
I don't know where the cost savings would be, because you've got the same number of election judges, you have the same number of staff.
It was in handicap required equipment.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Okay.
That's right. So wouldn't have been any cost in this, it was in the cost to provide the site, so.
This is an item as you go into budgeting. This is over what we did this year, so keep that in mind. And we'll have to plug a few more dollars in next year.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
before we get to that, next time, I'm talking about, I should have probably done this in new business. I had this proposal on the, talking about budgets. One of the things that had occurred, and it's probably just an oversight, the fire marshal's salary was taken out of the fire department salary budget when it should have been took out of code and fire inspection. With that in mind, we're not over on the fire because fire runs have been down, which we've been fortunate on. But what I'm looking at and looking around, the way we've had the rain and the grass growing and the previous years coming into the city, the way the grass gets grown up and mows it maybe once every month or less.
Usually whenever the mayor would have to call them and tell them to come out pretty much.
What I've looked at is, you can look at this proposal, it's in your packet, is that we hire 3 part-time persons for the next 9 weeks in this budget. It'd be 29 hours a week, $10 an hour, no benefits. And if I've got it figured there, it'd run us about $8,429.13. And I figured it on about 9 weeks, it's probably 8.5 weeks or so. With this, on the last page, or the second page of that proposal is, we need to buy a few mowers, commercial mowers, weed eaters, backpack mowers, keep the grass off the roadway, and a little chemical. And I asked for this out of capital improvements. But we can keep the entranceways to the city of Kennett looking groomed and clean as people enter the city. And we're talking about from where the Sheryl Crow signs are on the perimeters, coming in on both sides of the median, up to the Walmart intersection, as we go north on Independence. Some of these, it's always been the debate from the edge of a storekeeper's property, the ditch to the roadway, whose responsibility is that? And one takes the responsibility and keeps it mowed and groomed, and the other one lets it get high, and you have to cite them and get into a debate over who's gonna mow it. We keep that cleaned, and then the bypass, 00 and DD, with these 3 people working 29 hours a week. And then we can look forward in the next budget as to how long we would want them to work, as far as into the year, and budget it for next year. We have a vehicle and we have a trailers that can pull the equipment. It's just, you know, over the years looking at coming into the city, first impressions count. And I think that we can make a good first impression on people that are just passing through. Now the south bypass between Walmart and down to the Pentecostal church, you're not gonna be able to do much because of construction, we understand that. But there is, other places on down to the radio station, and from the radio station on down to where, A Highway, or on down to 412 there on O. Keeping it clean and groomed is gonna make a better impression of what we have in the past. So I make a proposal tonight, talk to Terry McVeigh, city attorney, and we can, if you'll give us permission, we can advertise and get this going and get them started up 1st of May. And, see how it works for the 2 months. And you be the judge.
The only question I have, I actually have a couple that, if we're gonna spend this kind of money for equipment just for a 9-week project that may or may not go after that, that's kind of a lot of money just for a 9-week deal.
Well, I mean, we've used the home grade equipment before, and you're constantly, you're 29 hours, you're gonna be maintaining a lot of it. That's the problem. I anticipate that we could maintain this into the next year and make it bigger. We've got houses we tore down, some of these people we had to turn down, they're not gonna be responsible, we're gonna have to be back into court and get a judgment and mow those lots again, or we're gonna have lots that look as bad as what the house did. That's the second thing that we're gonna face.
With this kind of cost, I'm just wondering, I'm just throwing this out there as an idea, will we be better off bidding it out to a private contractor? But here's the thing, who's gonna supervise all these projects, the mowing projects, who's gonna overlook these?
Code enforcement and property maintenance. I mean, I'm through the city quite often, David is, your police officers, you know, it's just a matter of pushing stuff forward and making job tickets, hey, you need to be here, but the routine to be, you start them out, say on the east side of town, and their path is to go north, go come around, and come back in, and they do that every week unless they're given a different job ticket to go somewhere special, such as a lot, clean up and mow or take care of.
So who's gonna be the person that's gonna supervise these three people and make sure they're here when they're supposed to be and they do the job they're supposed to be doing? So they gotta be answerable with just one person, not several.
You have, well, your code enforcement officer is around town all the time doing inspections.
So he would be the supervisor, I think that's what Kenny's asking.
Yeah, he can be the supervisor, the immediate supervisor.
Okay, that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I've talked with one individual that's interested, if we advertise this, he'll put his application in, I think, could lead the crew if he applies, and that's what we'll have to look for. Someone that's gonna be willing to be strong and lead the crew, and it's just, I mean, you know, when you're out in the community doing property maintenance and you know, you see they're not doing the job that you expect them to do, that's where you're gonna have to call them in and discipline.
We have a motion on this.
Are we good? Yeah, we ain't gonna motion that.
Huh?
Motion.
Motion second?
Second.
Okay, second. Okay, discussion.
Those numbers good for the budget?
Yeah, do we have to reallocate money or what?
You know what, John was explaining about, Scott Tudor's salary being in the wrong category. Enough money available to cover the salaries, the, equipment falls under capital additions, and that's no problem.
I would say if we could with the money.
What do you mean, it's no problem?
We have money available in capital additions.
I mean, I think anything we can do to make Kennett look better, we gotta try.
Amen.
Any other comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thanks for the comments, questions, I mean, it's our goal, and I've talked to, code enforcement and property maintenance to do everything we can think of, to try and, you know, so, we'll get on this and get advertising and, get the bids on equipment. Appreciate it.
Well, Mr. Mayor, you taking over, we're getting rid of mosquitoes and all the weeds and everything. Doing good.
Those weeds are mosquito breeding ground. Final thing we've got here is to set a public hearing date for sales tax allocation. Did you have a date in mind?
Is it usually before a council meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so the next council meeting would be the 5th.
We usually do it,
On the,
actually, just, sometime in May.
that would give time to advertise. Most of the time, the only one that comes would be like Park and Chamber and those that are used to getting their monies. So that should be enough time. Set it for 6 o'clock on the 5th. That work?
It works for me. Anybody got a problem from May the 5th, 6 o'clock?
That's plenty of time for advertising and everything.
Give it time to advertise.
Should be.
That said,
You need that motion.
motion, I think.
Let's take a look at this real quick. In your packets, this is the Myrna. This is what I was talking about earlier, that It has down some of the things that the evaluation recommendations. These are the things that we're going to need to do to try to get our numbers up from 80. And in that Murma newsletter, it lists the cities. Out of 76 cities, we are third from the bottom. And I don't want us to be there anymore. Even though 80